Johnson.
Guys, thanks for coming out again. And I'm gonna start with the weather. It's kind of fall this time. Look, it was good to see today. I mean, we finally first day back, and Ryan Griffin, he took most of the reps today, and I mean, it's night and day. I just felt that the coaches wasn't teaching everything all over again. From like the start. Nothing against DJ. DJ was great for us, and Powell was fantastic when he played, but everything was being taught. Last year in the spring, DJ was playing baseball. He was winning games for the baseball team, and then Powell was in high school going to the prom. And now we finally got a guy who knows the offense, knows what we're doing a little bit, and it looked a lot better. And it's been good. The emotion's been up, the enthusiasm been up, but it really looked like that we're moving in the right direction in the football team. Anything from?
Please raise your hand if you have a question.
If you can talk a little bit about, Griff obviously is the most experienced guy, but I think he brings kind of a poise and a calmness to the offense. I mean, that this is the guy that they kind of trust, and he's going to lead it for them for the past 3 years.
Absolutely. He's been through. There's a difference between a soldier and a warrior. A soldier's march. Warriors fight. And Griff's been in there now. He's a fighter. And he's been through it all. He's been hit, got up, thrown touchdowns. So he's an experienced guy. He's not going there for the first time. And he has the poise, the experience, the knowledge of the game. He's had, about between 40 and 50 starts. So, 30 and 40 starts. So he's very experienced. So just that alone, and then having a younger team where guys hadn't played, it was like the youth looking to the youth. Ponder was an older kid, but he just hadn't played very much. So it was just all youth looking back and forth. Now at least we got a little bit of direction, a little bit of leadership.
Just touch on the enthusiasm of the team getting them back. Obviously, you said you're able to install more things, but just the idea of, it's been a rough 5 games. Do they maybe turn the page a little bit once they're
Well, I hope so. And not only him, you have Dark Horse back. Another guy who's been in the mix a little bit. Last season, and just overall, it just was better for everyone. And I know, and I'm looking at Skidmore in the back, but these mic IDs. When you got to identify the mic and identify the jack, they're absolutely right. They're not guessing, and we're not telling them, wait. I blew my whistle less today. So everything he makes me feel more comfortable. So it was a good day. It was a good practice. As you see, I'm a little bit more refreshed today because I didn't have to coach as much.
You didn't have to blow your whistle as much?
Not nowhere near as much. Let me just tell you.
So it's 100% he's been cleared by the medical staff?
Well, he's not out of the water totally yet, but I don't see why he shouldn't be.
And one of the sort of lingering concerns last 2 weeks was his arm strength. How'd that look today?
Look, it looked good, and I'm not going to sit here and say it was 100% because he hadn't thrown as many balls. He had 25, and then it was 35. It was just 10 increments of 10, and now all of a sudden he's throwing, 100. So it was a little bit different today, but I thought he got a little tired at the end of practice, but I thought he threw it well.
You're at the portion of the schedule now. It's almost like you're starting conference play, even though you had the game against Tulsa earlier. This is where, you really have a consistent week after week you're in league play. Do you kind of build this to the team as we're starting a new season at this point after this kind of
You know what? And I think what I've done was I want to go more one game at a time, one play at a time. I don't think we mature enough to say, okay, let's start over. Or we mature enough for a new start. I think what we got to do is we just got to build upon everything. And I told the offensive line, I thought this was the first game that you guys were physical in the run game. Now, those guys last week were, Lafayette had some big guys, some big JC transfers, and golly, they battled, and I thought they played well, and I told them that. So we just got to build on that.
I know you had some issues with substituting and things like that. How much of that comes down to the quarterback? I know offensively it's not as big an issue maybe as defensively, but the idea of getting Griff back, does it help that at all? And then how do you address it just overall?
Here's where our couple of issues were last week. The quarterback situation. If you could just imagine, if you look, and I would say the Saints, Drew Brees will look over and say he knows the play and he knows who's in the game. Well, Powell and Ponder didn't know the play sometime. So, I mean, they got to fiddle through the wristband, and so now they're trying to figure out who's in the game, who's doing what. And those guys, and like I told the coaches, they aren't good enough to figure those. They can't solve problems. They can run the plays, and nothing against them. So now we got a problem solver. So you can get guys in and out the game. He knows the plays, he knows the offense, he knows the language. That was one. The next thing is this past game, it was a little bit hot, a little bit later, and so we had an abnormal amount of injuries. I mean, it was just guys were going out, and we had several IVs. And so as one guy would go out, and I can tell you one just vividly, we getting ready to kick off in the second half, and Cameron Dejan is getting ready from the kick tee. He's getting ready to line up. All of a sudden, he takes off running. He's running back in the tunnel because he's going to get an IV. So now we hadn't run one play. When the second half, we had 4 or 5 guys already in the locker room. So our special teams begin, because that's the first thing to go. They begin to scramble. So it was because the personnel wasn't very hard. It was just getting the special teams together. And then we had times when Ryan Grant was out and Shackelford was out. And so that kind of put a little bit more pressure on our substitutions from that standpoint. But I think with Griff, I think the offense will be cleaned up. The defense I thought was bad 2 weeks ago, and I thought they were better this week. And now we just got to clean the special teams up, and I think we'll do that.
Yeah, that was one thing that, a lot of the fans noticed is right coming out of halftime, a lot of cramps, which was weird. Was there not enough IVs to go around at halftime? Because it was like in the first few plays coming out of halftime, a bunch of guys went down with cramps.
Young players, and it's the young players who hadn't played. Young players, the first thing you got to know is you got to know thyself. They got to know their own bodies. And they don't know, right now, I would say for me, now that I'm 50, a couple weeks ago, I didn't know my body. I had a big cramp, a body cramp. So I would say for everybody, the best thing to do is just hydrate the night before, drink a lot of water. We got to have a lot of bottled water around. We got to just pump them with water. The day of the game, drink a lot of Gatorade and eat right. And so young players, they really don't know. So some guys you ask in to play for the first time, Cameron Dejan, Royce, all these guys just playing, all of a sudden it's a hot afternoon and they're not prepared to play. Why? Because they're freshmen.
Quick question about the water. I know there's been a boil order. I mean, did that affect any of your guys' preparation at practice?
No, I just didn't take a shower before this. But no, I really did. But no, I thought Danny and those guys did a great job. They had enough bottled water. They got all the bottled water around. So I think that now, I don't know if these guys showered or not. So I mean, it's up to you. When they come up, I'm leaving. But it was good. I thought Danny and Andy did a fantastic job getting us prepared for practice this morning.
When you look at SMU's offense, you look at Zach Line, sorry. I'll share. But, Zach Line is one, obviously has to be a focus of what you're doing on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. He's something else now. I mean, he's good, a good player. And I think that's one of the keys to the game. We just gotta, if we can control that, we'll stand a great chance. And I don't think you went to kindergarten because you don't know about sharing. You know what you look at Rutgers and you say Rutgers will be an Orange Bowl. I really believe that. Ole Miss just they beat taking everybody to the wire. Tulsa's a pretty good football team. They went on the road and won this weekend. And these two guys, Monroe was good just by who they played and how they played. And they all veteran teams. This team was a good team too. They were a veteran team. They're older than us. They got a lot of guys been playing. They're a senior team. Their leadership, you look at the leadership, that was intact. So I think like these guys in the back, Skidmore, Debo, and those guys, Darren Monroe, those guys, they'll be better at leading once they play a little bit. Where these guys been playing. You know what? I think this running back they got is pretty good. I think they're gonna try to pound us, and I think that's what they do. They start the run, and then they'll try to throw it. I think June Jones is creative enough to help him he'll get him on the perimeter. He's getting him moving him around a little bit. So I think our ends got to be very, very focused on keeping him keep him contained, and I think we'll do well with that. I thought the defense practiced well again too.
Coach, what are you doing? What adjustments do you need to make to improve the running game? The last 2 weeks, you haven't got 11 yards. I know Darko, I guess, is relatively healthy now. He did put about 7 carries or so this past Saturday. What adjustments or what
Here's what we've done. Like I said last week, we've cut back some of the plays, but we just can't get. And early on in the game, in the first half, I thought we were running it pretty good, and then all of a sudden we got a pick for 6, and we go down 14 points. And now you really, if you want to win the game, you really can't run it because you're getting these scoring races. So what I would hope to do is have a close one, and so that we can run it. So Darkwar can get 15, 16 carries. Kelly will get his 10 carries. Dante will get his 5, and Rounds have his special plays. But I like to see Darkwar from 15 to 20. But once you're down, you just begin to throw it. You got to throw it. You got to feel. You got to catch up with the chains, and then we're being a lot simpler on first and second down. I mean, we're not very few motion shifts, and we just run past, just easy reads, get it. Because if we get positive yards on first and second down, third down will be manageable. Somehow third downs really hadn't been manageable throughout the year.
Coach, usually your first year, it's kind of a honeymoon phase,
Mhm.
everything's a new system, all that kind of stuff. Do you feel like the honeymoon phase is already over with, being 0-5, and kind of do you feel the heat right now since, you haven't started out well?
You know what? I've always felt the heat. I felt the heat. This for me. This is what I want to do. This is it for me. I want to do this. I want to turn this thing around. The heat's been on since I said I do to Tulane. I feel it. I think the heat's on. So now here's what you do when you get in a situation like this. You got a whole new defensive line, almost a truly new offensive line. What you do is you build a culture. You got to get these players who have my vision. And they will have my building, and they begin to build culture. The locker room is clean. It's just the little things, the hustle on and off the field, just one step at a time. And like I said last week, it's not a sprint; it's a marathon. And I think by the time we get through with this process that we got, we'll be on with the next phase. Again, it's a no excuse program. We lost a lot of players, but it's no excuses. Because those other teams, you know what? They really don't care about what we lost. They just want to beat us and move on to the next opponent. So we just got to match their intensity, their culture, and our culture will be better because I really believe we're smarter.
When you look at the two programs, do you see similarities in the two coaches just overlapping,
Yeah, you know what? It's very similar. I thought June has done a fantastic job in what he's doing. This is very, very similar. You know what? I was at SMU for a year after the death penalty. We didn't win a game. That's how far that program has come. And one of the things about it, we did tie Texas A&M. That was the highlight of our season. Back then, they had like a 30-game home winning streak or 20-some game, 50, whatever it was. But we did tie him. But the thing is what I think June and the predecessors before him began to do is they began to change the thinking and changing the young men who going into that program. The Steeler receiver, Sanders, is a heck of a player. He was in that program. So they're beginning to get some players. They're beginning to get some guys to play. And that's what we got to do. We got to just evaluate, get our type of guys, and it's nothing against anybody here. It's just we got to get smart football players that are good football players, and we'll do that. And we got a lot of them on our team right now, but we'll do that. And then we just got to get this thing and bridge this thing together.
A lot of the younger players you have in the program kind of along those lines are not used to losing. Darian Monroe, do you worry that kids like that are going to go through a season like this and go, I'm transferring, this is not what I signed up for?
You know what? I think the kids who really want to be here are going to be here. And I think here's the special part about being at a place, being here, is because when the chips are down, nobody thinks you're going to ever be able to do it. It's like at the Saints, we got through our preseason. It's like the end of preseason in the first regular. Nobody thought we would win a game. And all of a sudden, we end up in an NFC Championship game. So I just think that guys like that, they wouldn't have come here if they didn't feel that this is the challenge that I want. I want to do this because when we do, reach the heights that we're gonna reach, he'll be the first one to hold a trophy up and say, God, it would be appreciated more. Some programs, they build and build. At Miami, when I was at the University of Miami, we were winning so much, winning didn't even matter. We knew what the result. We knew that we were gonna win the game. We just didn't know the results of it. But now you're building something special just by him coming here. He's a leader, he understands, smart behind his years, and I think instead of transferring, he'll get some more guys in here and say, hey, you like me, you come with me.
The other thing is, we talked about this a little bit before, without Zach Davis, if you can't go. nickel, more dime, different kinds of packages. But if they're gonna pound the ball, you're gonna need linebackers in there. You know, what is the plan B if they do use line and try and pound?
Without giving our game plan away, we got some packages with 5 D linemen, which we ran some against Rutgers and 2 linebackers. We also this is a 10 personnel team, 4 wide out and 1 back. So they don't use a tight end very much. So we got packages to handle all of that. We could add on 1 more, and I mean just bringing 1 guy down into the box if we need to. And almost what you don't want to do is you don't want to put these young kids on an island, just Dawson, Baptiste, but you're almost going to be forced to make them become grown-ups in a game like this. But I just think we got enough that you just add on. If they start pounding us, you just got to add another guy down. Just keep adding on.
I know you touched on this a little bit last week, but Rick Dixon has sent out a letter to the fans, kind of asking for patience and, just basically stating the program that everybody's disappointed, that we're still moving forward. What did you think about, seeing a letter like that, and what's kind of your reaction to the fans as well?
Well, I'm disappointed too. That's first and foremost. I'm not. One thing about me, I'm a competitor in everything. I mean, sometimes I fight my wife to brush my teeth first. I'm a competitor now. I'm just telling you. So she knows, and the players know. And so it's disappointing. And the fans, you know what? Hey, they should be. They should be disappointed somewhat. But understand, they also got to look at what is really going on. They look at, last year they had 5 D linemen. I saw one against Green Bay when the Saints played Green Bay. He knocked the ball out of Sproles. It was a bad call. He was there. He was playing in the NFL. Last year they got 4 offensive linemen who's was here last year who we don't have. We missed our quarterback. We missed our best running back. Our receiver last year, Grant, was out all last year. He's coming back. It's like he's a young kid. Our tight end's banged up. Tedford, he's out. The D lineman, we lost some players. For, the academic reasons or whatever, so we lost a lot. And the thing is, we playing young kids. We playing a lot of young kids, and you could, if you don't want to be patient with me as a coach, that's fine, but just be patient with these young kids because they are doing some good things. Look at the positive. Monroe's playing outstanding. Baptiste is playing something else. Doss never even played on the defense side of the ball. He's one of the better defensive backs playing. Travis playing good. We got these new young kids on the offensive line. So we are young, and we played with our 4th string quarterback, really, who never, he didn't take a rep in spring and barely took a rep in the fall. So where you playing against guys that got their 5th-year quarterbacks. So, just a little bit patient, maybe not for me, but for these kids, and I think they'll do fine.
Any more questions?
Thank you.